Now, when it comes to trade regulations, we're talking about things like tariffs. So this is tariffs. Okay, quotas. Okay, embargoes and trade blocks. All right, so when it comes to tariffs, okay, we all know about tariffs. Okay, tariffs are taxes that governments impose on imports coming into the country. Okay, so these are taxes. Okay, or imposed on rather, imposed on goods or products imported into a country. And these tariffs may have several applications. Okay, one such application would be to prevent, okay, a dumping strategy. All right, now what exactly is a dumping strategy? This is when you manufacture something for a really low price, okay, and you export that product into a country where goods are generally sold for a higher price. Okay, so say for example you have electronics or appliances, okay, where goods may be manufactured in a particular country, okay, for a very low price, okay, and they're able to manufacture these goods for a low price because they might have labor, which might be less expensive than the other country, which may have a minimum wage for labor, for example. Okay, maybe less expensive because some of the materials for those electronic gadgets may be manufactured locally. Okay, it may be less expensive because they're probably used to the technology, okay, that is used in the gadget. They're more accustomed to the technology that is used in the gadget, whereas the other developed country has moved on from that stage onto a stage where they're able to make high-tech medical devices, but they're not able to make, let's say, or manufacture, okay, small-scale electronics, okay, electronics which is less high-tech and sophisticated in nature, okay? So it may be because of several reasons, but regardless of the reason, okay, the reason why tariffs are imposed is to remove trade inequality. Okay, what do you mean by trade inequality? Well, if you have a business that sells an electronic item, manufactures and sells an electronic item for $20, and another business, okay, sells and manufactures the same item for $5, then according to the government, there might be some kind of trade imbalance, as a result of which they might impose tariffs, okay, to protect the local businesses and entrepreneurs. Okay, so this has to do with tariffs. Now, apart from tariffs, you also have something called quotas. Okay, so what exactly is quota? Now, quotas has to do with restrictions on imports. Okay, it has to do with restrictions on imports. Now, even though tariffs may impose some kind of restriction on imports, okay, the main idea is to make sure the value of the goods, the retail price of the goods, is fair enough for everybody in the market. Okay. However, with quotas, it's a totally different idea. The idea over here is to restrict the amount of goods entering into the country, period, regardless of the value or price. Okay. So say, for example, if you have a country that manufactures and exports cars, all right, now the government may put a quota, okay, on those exports. So the imports coming into the country, exports by that country. However, the local government may put a quota on the imports coming into the country. And the reason why they might put this restriction, okay, is to protect the local businesses, okay, or to protect the economy. Because we all know that imports take away exports contribute to GDP, right? So if your net exports is negative, if your imports are more than your exports, then obviously your GDP will shrink. As a result of which, one of the reasons why there might be a quota on a certain product coming from a certain country is because of the GDP and economy. All right, so this has to do with restrictions on imports. Now, apart from quotas, you also have embargoes. So what exactly is embargoes? Now, embargoes has to do with specific bans on trading a specific product with a specific country. Okay, so we all know that politics impact economy as well. Okay, and that's probably one of the reasons why there might be a tariff on a certain country or products coming from a certain country. Okay, and because politics impact the global economy, okay, you also have governments that impose embargoes when they trade with specific country. Okay, so say for example, if you have a country with a different political ideology, okay, or different way of living life in general, okay, which may be conflicting in nature with the way people live their lives in another country, okay, or the government and political ideologies in another country, let's say a dictatorship versus a democracy, okay, you might have a democracy imposing something called embargoes, okay, on a country with a dictatorship, okay. And the reason why they impose these embargoes, again, is to restrict trade, okay. So you're basically putting a ban on trading a product or trading with a country altogether. Okay, so this is restriction of trade. So banning of trade in general. So import versus export. So import versus export. Okay, so this is banning of trade, import versus export. Now, apart from embargoes, you also have trade blocks. Okay, so what exactly are trade blocks? Now, when it comes to trade blocks, these are intergovernmental agreements that remove barriers of trade within the regions of the world. So these are agreements, intergovernmental agreements. Okay, relevant to trade. Now, one such agreement would be your U.S., Mexico, and Canada agreement, or USMCA, in the past. Okay, so this is USMCA. Okay, this would be relevant to your free trade agreement, where governments don't impose taxes or tariffs on goods coming from either country. So import and export comes without taxes or tariffs, okay, or low custom fees and whatnot. Okay, so basically this is to boost the economy of all the countries involved. Okay, it's to boost the GDP and, okay, to bump up your imports and exports. Okay, especially if they are, trading partners. Okay, if they are trading partners who have been in the industry for a long time and they know each other and they've been trading with each other and they trust each other. So in that case, what's going to end up happening is the government, okay, will try to bump up imports and exports to boost the economy, to boost the GDP, as a result of which you have this kind of agreements. All right, so that would be it for this video. On behalf of V Electronics, this is Ubaid. Have yourself a great day.